Welcome to Odyssey.com, Uganda's largest marketplace. Today, we're really zeroing in on camera drones. This is for you if you want to sort of quickly get a handle on what's actually out there.
Yeah.
We've gone through a couple of sources, a camera drone guide and range analysis, and also a blog post asking, how much does a 100 km range drone cost? And is it worth it? The idea is to cut through the noise, give you the essentials.
Yeah, distill it down.
Exactly. So our mission today is exploring the best camera drone options for different needs and also trying to unravel the whole flight range and cost thing, which can be, well, a bit surprising sometimes.
Definitely. There's a lot more to range than just the number on the box.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. The landscape of camera drones, say, for 2025, what are we seeing?
Well, the first thing is just the variety. It's huge now. Drones are really getting specialized for different tasks, different budgets.
Right. So let's start at the top. If you need absolutely top-tier professional results,
Then the DJI Mavic 3 Pro, that's probably the one that stands out most.
why is that? It's got this triple camera system, Hasselblad sensor. Sounds serious.
It really is. That 43 CMOS sensor, it's quite large for a drone, and that means better image quality, especially when the light isn't perfect. Plus, it shoots up to 5.1K video, so you're talking proper professional filmmaking quality.
And the obstacle avoidance. Omnidirectional.
Yeah, all directions, which is, pretty crucial when you're doing high-stakes shoots. You don't want any accidents. And around 43 minutes of flight time is solid, too.
Okay. What if your main thing is photography, maybe less on the super high-end video?
The DJI Air 3 is a really interesting one there. It's got dual cameras.
Dual cameras. How does that help a photographer?
It gives you more flexibility with framing. You can switch between, say, a wide view and a more telephoto view without having to physically move the drone as much. It's quite versatile. And it still packs a punch, 11.3-inch sensor, 4K at 100 frames per second, 10-bit color. So your photos and videos look great. Flight time's even a bit longer, around 46 minutes.
Interesting. Now, think about budget. Maybe not rock bottom, but more conscious spending. The Autel EVO Lite Plus comes up.
Yeah, that's a strong contender. It's got a 1-inch sensor, which is great for the price, especially for low light. And it shoots 6K video.
And it has an adjustable aperture. That seems unusual for this class.
It is. It gives you more creative control, like you get on a bigger camera, you can adjust the depth of field, make your subject pop by blurring the background. That's a nice feature to have. Flight time's decent, too, about 40 minutes.
Okay. Portability is a big one for a lot of people. Travel, hiking.
Right. And for that, the DJI Mini 4 Pro is really compelling.
Because it's under 249 grams.
Exactly. That weight limit is key in many countries, often means less hassle with registration.
But you're not sacrificing too much quality.
Not really, no. It still manages 4K HDR video from a pretty decent 11.3-inch sensor and about 34 minutes flight time. For something that small, it's impressive.
And if the budget is really, really tight, like absolute entry level but still capable,
the DJI Mini 2 SE is probably the answer there. Around $300 USD, sometimes less.
and it's still usable.
Oh, yeah. You get a 12.3-inch sensor, 2.7K video, about 31 minutes of flight. It's a massive step up from a toy drone, a really good starting point.
Okay, so that's a quick tour of some models. But what are the universal things someone needs to consider before buying any camera drone? Key factors.
Well, like we touched on, sensor size is huge. Bigger sensor generally means better image quality, more detail, better in dim light.
Right, bigger bucket for light. Makes sense. What else?
Flight time. Really, you want something over 30 minutes if possible. It just gives you breathing room.
Less stress about getting it back immediately.
Exactly. Then, a 3-axis gimbal. That's non-negotiable for smooth video. It mechanically stabilizes the camera, takes out all the shakes and jitters.
Essential for that cinematic look.
Totally. Obstacle avoidance is a big safety plus, especially if you're flying near trees, buildings, anything complex.
And range.
Yeah, transmission range. But crucially, you need to check that against your local rules. Just because a drone can fly far doesn't mean you legally can.
Okay, perfect segue. Let's talk about that range.
Yeah.
How far can these things actually fly? Because
Yeah.
the marketing numbers can seem huge.
Right, and this is where it gets nuanced. The range isn't just one number. It depends on a whole bunch of things.
Okay, like what? Lay it out for us.
Well, first, the drone itself, the type, the technology it uses. A cheap toy drone might only go 50 meters, maybe 300 if you're lucky.
Right.
Hobbyist drones, maybe 500 meters to a couple of kilometers. Then you get into the prosumer ones, like the Mavics we talked about, using things like OcuSync or LightBridge. They can theoretically reach 5, even 15 kilometers.
Theoretically. Okay.
Then there's battery life, obvious one, but critical. You need enough juice to get out and back. Average flight times are maybe 15, 30 minutes, though some high-end ones push past an hour now.
And signal interference.
Huge factor. Wi-Fi signals, cell towers, big metal buildings, mountains, even dense trees or bad weather. All that can seriously cut down your actual usable range. Open fields are best for maximum distance.
So ideal conditions versus reality.
Exactly. And then the big one, legal limits. In many places like the US and UK, you absolutely have to keep the drone within your visual line of sight, VLOS.
Regardless of its technical range.
Regardless. And there are usually height limits too, like 120 meters. Some drones even have geofencing built in to stop you flying in restricted areas. Always, always check the rules from your local aviation authority.
So that 12-kilometer range on the box for, say, a Mini 3 Pro, what's realistic?
In the real world, probably more like 6 to 8 kilometers maybe, in a really open area with no interference. The sources suggest actual range is often 30–50% less than the max spec.
Okay, that's a significant difference. What happens if you push it too far? Lose signal.
Most modern drones have a fail-safe return to home, or RTH. If it loses signal, it should automatically try to fly back to where it took off. Well, yeah, if the battery is too low by the time it loses signal, or if something blocks its return path, it might just try to land wherever it is, which might not be safe. Or it could just run out of power completely.
And then it's gone.
Pretty much. Or worse, it lands somewhere inaccessible or causes a hazard. And like we said, flying beyond legal limits like VLOS can get you fined or lose your license.
The guide had a stark warning. Most lost drones happen because pilots overestimate range or underestimate the environment.
It's true. Complacency is dangerous. You need to respect the tech, the environment, and the rules.
Is there a simple way to estimate a safe distance? A rule of thumb.
One practical guideline is take your total battery life, halve it for the return trip, and multiply by the drone's average speed. That gives you a rough maximum one-way distance.
Believe a safety margin.
Always. Don't push the battery to zero. You need reserve for unexpected wind or delays.
Okay, let's shift gears again. The really long-range stuff. 100 kilometers. Who on earth needs that?
Yeah, we're talking very specialized professional use cases here. Think large-scale filmmaking, maybe sweeping landscape shots, search and rescue operations covering huge areas, surveyors mapping massive tracts of land or long pipelines.
And the cost must be significant.
And absolutely. The blog post put it between $5,000 and $50,000, maybe even more.
Wow. Compared to consumer drones topping out around 15–20 kilometer range.
It's a different league. You're looking at industrial grade or highly specialized machines to hit 100 kilometers.
Any examples? What kind of drones are these?
Well, the sources mentioned the Quantum Systems Trinity F90 Plus Suar. That's a fixed-wing drone, but it can take off vertically. Good for mapping. Range is about 100 kilometers, price maybe $25,000 to $35,000. Then there's the Skyfront Perimeter 8. That's a hybrid gas-electric drone. Can fly for over 5 hours, easily covers 100 kilometers.
Right.
But the price tag is more like $30,000 to $70,000.
That's electric. Interesting.
Yeah, it gives much longer endurance than batteries alone.
Yeah.
Even something more familiar like the DJI Matrix 350 RTK, which is a powerhouse for professionals. Its range is more like 20–40 kilometers, and it starts around $12,000, so 100 kilometers is a big step up.
What justifies that massive cost difference? What tech are you getting?
You're paying for serious engineering, advanced battery tech or hybrid systems for that super long flight time, highly sophisticated long-range communication links that stay stable over huge distances, very precise GPS, often RTK for centimeter-level accuracy, which is vital for mapping. Plus, they often carry advanced sensors, thermal, LiDAR, multispectral cameras, and they're built tough, really robust for demanding work.
So back to the practical question. Is a 100-kilometer drone worth it for most people listening, even professionals starting out?
Honestly, probably not. You have to ask, does my work truly require covering that kind of distance regularly? Am I trained, certified, and legally permitted to fly that far, potentially beyond visual line of sight, which often requires special waivers?
And can you justify the cost?
Exactly. Can the potential return on investment justify spending, say, $30,000 or more on a single drone? For many filmmakers, photographers, or even small surveying businesses, a high-quality consumer or prosumer drone under $2,000 might be perfectly capable for 99% of their needs.
If someone is seriously considering one of these long-range beasts, what are the absolute must-checks?
Regulations, regulations, regulations. Check them meticulously. These drones almost certainly fall under stricter rules and require special licenses or permissions. Also, check manufacturer support and parts availability. These are complex machines, you need good backup. Insurance is a must, given the cost.
Makes sense.
And maybe look into those hybrid options if flight time, not just range, is the absolute priority.
Okay, so wrapping this up, it's clear there's a huge spectrum of camera drones out there, from, easy to carry models for beginners.
All the way up to these high-end long-range machines for very specific jobs.
And the key really seems to be understanding exactly what you need. Thinking about sensor size, flight time, realistic range.
Absolutely. And being super aware of the legal side, the regulations in your area, then balancing all that against the cost.
Whether you're after amazing photos, smooth video, or covering massive distances, there's likely a drone that fits. Hopefully this deep dive has cleared things up a bit.
Yeah, helped map out the territory, so to speak.
Definitely given us a lot to think about before taking flight. Thanks for breaking it all down.
My pleasure.
So the final thought for you listening. With all this capability literally at your fingertips now, what new perspectives are you aiming to capture from above?